Hello everybody, welcome to a new YouTube video. Mark from Theme Rhino. Today we're going to be doing a little bit different of a video. We're not going to be diving deep into Shopify. We're going to have a conversation about Shopify. And this video is going to be about my various different tips for beginners to realize before they jump into Shopify head on. And with this video, guys, this video for some people is going to become almost a smack in the face, and I hate to say that, but it's going to wake people up to the realities and the truths of Shopify. I don't expect everybody to enjoy this video, but I'm going to be giving you some bitter, sobering medicine when it comes down to understanding what Shopify is and how to use Shopify. And the reality is not what it seems. So without further ado, let's get into these tips to explain my point of view and basically information that I would give a beginner if there were beginners out there starting to use Shopify today. My first tip out of all different tips, and I do have my notebook here, so if I ever look down, you guys know why, but my first tip out of all the tips is to take for granted what you see. Take for granted. Not take for granted, take for granted, meaning beware of what you see. When people typically search about Shopify or Shopify information, they use the internet. Maybe you search for how to use Shopify or Shopify tips or Shopify sales tips here on YouTube and you found this video. Well, there's a ton of other videos on YouTube that are just filled with false lies, things to make you buy into certain courses, which I'm not against courses at all. For those who know me, I'm not against courses. But there's a lot of fake and false information. A lot of the times you'll see videos of 20-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids creating millions of dollars from their apartment building. The reality is it doesn't really work that way, at least not in profit. Anytime somebody says, I'm making millions of dollars, you do have to raise an eyebrow. You do have to pay attention to what they're saying and the claims they're making. And be aware that if these numbers are realistic, it's not in profit. In fact, it's mostly just revenue. And I recommend you guys to take a deep dive and look at the statistics behind the average amount of profit that people generate per business, and it's drastically lower than what you guys think. The average, there was just somebody here, I'm not going to say names, but there was an individual who made a video on how he makes over $100,000 a month. And that $100,000 that he makes per month, less than 10% of it is profit, which is ridiculously low. That's why when I teach business tips to people, I specifically teach to improve conversion rates, which does what? It improves sales. It improves profit, not the revenue. The revenue doesn't matter. If you're making $5 million a month, but you're taking home $6 in profit, it's not worth anything. But if you're, let's say, bringing home $600, right, and let's say your expenses are only $200, well, then you're doing something there, and it actually has some kind of value to it. So for me, revenue is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You don't get any brownie points for revenue. It doesn't change your lifestyle. You're still going to be driving the same car, sitting in the same chair, living in the same house, okay? Revenue does not matter. It's about profit. Profit is what matters because that's what, at the end of the day, what you get to take home. So, end of story. Tip number 1, beware of the false lies that are portrayed here on the internet because it's all out there. In fact, there's more fake than true, okay? Because everybody wants you to buy into what they're selling. Hey, buy my course. Hey, get into my membership program. Get into my mentorship, right? You hear these call to actions all the time here on YouTube. Watch my free 2-hour webinar, 3-hour webinar, and you watch these webinars, and at the end of the day, you come up with no real tangible information. You just come up with a story, like this guy was telling a story about, on a webinar about how he lived in his aunt's basement and his parents kicked him out of his house because he wasn't making money and he was following his passion and his dream. All this hocus pocus BS, okay? You guys need to focus on the reality. And the reality is that 99% of people who start a business fail. That is the reality. It's not something that I want to say. It's not something that's fun. I mean, I've been through all kinds of pain starting my first business. It took me 6 months to make my first sale. I've said this story maybe 5 times before on this YouTube channel. 6 months to make my first sale, working every single day on my business. Okay, this was back when I was a freshman in college. So, and this is when I turned 18. So be aware of that. Um, so I'll leave that where it may. Tip number 2, okay? Expect no sales. Expect no sales, okay? You have to work every day like you're making thousands of dollars, but you're really not. And this is my second tip because this is the tip that is the reason why I'm in business today. This is the reason why. Had I quit during my hard period of time, like I said, guys, that first 6 months was extremely difficult. The first week or two, it's fun, right? You start something brand new, you have the motivation, you have the interest. Next thing you know, you spent a whole bunch of money on courses, on books, on apps, on themes, on memberships to certain softwares. And what do you come out with it if you quit? The answer is nothing. You come out with zero. This is the reason why I said I stuck so hard in my business plan, stuck so hard to working hard, because that was the only answer I had. I couldn't afford a mentor. I had already invested most of my money in physical product, which came from India, by the way. Half of the goods were damaged. Okay, the second half were, in decent shape, but I didn't know how to market them, which comes to why I'm telling you guys, work every single day like you're making so much money, thousands and thousands of dollars, but expect to make zero. Because that's the reality of business. In the beginning, you have to give more than you take. You have to keep pushing hard, hard, hard in effort to learn marketing, to learn how to acquire your first customer, to learn how to build something as simple as a website, to learn how to build your first ad, to learn how to create graphics, to learn how to do all these things. The reason why I say you have to learn how to do these things is because I'm assuming you don't have the capital to hire people out, right? And even if you did have the capital to hire people out, you probably don't know what's good and bad examples of work. So step number 2, like I said, is, and I'll read this, is expect to make no sales. Expect to make no sales. It may take a year, it may take a month, it may take 6 months, it may take 2 years, but eventually, as Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, would say, eventually the pain will subside, and eventually you'll make some sales. But work like you're making thousands, but expect to make nothing. Okay, that's tip number 2. Like I said, sobering, bitter truth here, guys. Tip number 3. Okay. Launch Shopify stores and put them up for sale on the exchange. So, the first thing you need to do when it comes down to Shopify is you have to master the ability of creating a appealing looking Shopify store. Before you start learning marketing, before you start learning ads, before you start doing Facebook, before you start doing Instagram, Facebook, from my point of view, okay, the guru out there who's selling the $697 course on how to create Facebook ads is going to tell you something completely different. What I'm telling you is the first thing you have to do is master and learn how to create an appealing looking Shopify store. I said this before, I'll say it again. We are human beings. We are attracted through our eyes, okay? Through our senses, through our smell, through our touch, things like that. That desire we have to get something in terms of shopping is through our eyes, okay? Learn how to create something appealing, something attractive, something that's good looking. I have created I don't want to say hundreds. I've created many videos on my YouTube channel that have helped you with that. And I also talk about the psychology side to things, of why we do certain things when it comes down to building a certain website a certain way. Okay? That's very important when it comes to Shopify and should not be overlooked. Then what I want you to do is after you create these Shopify stores, put them on the exchange for sale, right? Let it be a learning lesson. The reality is, if nobody's willing to pay for anything, then no matter how hard you've worked, it's not worth a damn thing. And that's what the important thing is here, guys. I know that sounds harsh, but just listen to me on this. How valuable something is not how hard you've worked on it, but if somebody's willing to pay for it. That's the most important thing, if somebody's willing to pay for it. Okay? So you need to create these stores and you need to put them up on the exchange and see. hey, are they gonna be for sale? Are they, somebody gonna buy them? Is there some interest I'm generating here? That's where you want to go. Now, you don't want to lie on the exchange. I know a lot of people do this. They start lying, and I made videos before where I broke down and I studied Shopify stores on the Shopify exchange, and I talked about why this is basically a crock load of you know what. When I read through the descriptions and through the reasons why people were selling their certain businesses, I could read through the BS. I've been experienced enough in businesses and done enough deals in business, I guess you could say, to know when somebody is BSing me or telling me the truth. And 90% of the stores on the exchange are being sold because they don't make money, or they don't make good money, period. Or, they're essentially false advertised. If the store is being sold for 40 grand and they're claiming that it makes all this money and all this, okay, but if the store makes 40 grand in revenue the past 2 years, and then all of a sudden the store is for sale for 3 grand, it's not like you're gonna just come up on a gold mine. That doesn't happen in the world today, okay? You don't just come up on amazing deals. No, the store isn't worth jack you know what. So I'm not going to keep harping on that, but the reality is you want to start selling on the exchange, be honest with your listing, and let the market dictate. Let it tell you if what you have built has any value at all. And if it doesn't, well, then you have work to do, and you got to keep working. You got to keep designing before you go and spend $1,000 in Facebook ads like these gurus tell you, right? Create 30 different ad sets and $5 each ad set and $5 each day. And they're just repeating things like parrots. Before you do that, you need to literally create these stores, see if they have any value, see if people are willing to buy them. They don't necessarily have to have sales, just the design, the appeal. Believe it or not, there are people who just are on Shopify Exchange looking for something that's appealing to buy. I don't care if it's a drop shipping website. I don't care if you have the actual, physical items. Whatever you want to do, you set it up. There's going to be somebody willing to buy it if it has some sort of value to it. Next tip. Let's jump into the next tip. I believe that was tip number 3. We have, create 5 to 10 Shopify stores using the free trial. This is a tip because I know that a lot of people aren't going to do the last tip that I just mentioned, which is they sell on the Shopify exchange. So my next tip is create 5 to 10 Shopify stores before you decide to go ahead and fully publish one Shopify store and get started with it. 5 to 10 stores for me is a good enough number that gives you an understanding on how to design a store properly. Just when I say design a store properly, I don't mean get conversions. It's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying you understand how to use Shopify. You understand how to create a Facebook pixel and add it to the Shopify store. You understand how to edit the logo, how to add a footer. What is the purpose of a footer? What is the purpose of a header? What is the purpose of creating a carousel tab product collection? What is the purpose of a carousel slider? What is the purpose of a banner slider? All these different things that I'm saying have purpose. You have to create 5 to 10 stores, because I'm assuming you're not going to do the last tip. And once again, this is just the harsh reality, folks. There's a reason why only 1% of the people succeed in business. It's because majority of people are just simply not willing to do the work. And they could call it what they want. They could call it a scam. They could say, this is all BS. This is a waste of time. But there is a reality of why people succeed and why people do not. The majority of people do not succeed is because they're simply not willing to do the work. Okay? So those 5 to 10 stores don't represent high conversions. They just represent your understanding of the platform, where all the buttons are, where all, how to upload images, basic things like this. Okay? The next tip, okay? Try to get 1% better every single day. Folks, you can't go a day without working on your business. Not a single day. Not a weekend, not a Sunday, not a Monday, not a Friday. Every single day. I don't care if you have 8 hours of class in college, okay, on a certain day. I don't care if you took 4 midterms. You need to do something that will get you 1% better every single day in business. You have to work on your business. Sometimes that might be reading a book. Sometimes that might be working on writing a blog post. Sometimes that might be taking photos for your business. Sometimes it might be working on your website. Sometimes it might be making a phone call that's related to your business. 1% better every single day should be the goal. Everybody on YouTube here, from what I can see, is promoting this idea that you can make 30 grand in a weekend. If you've never had any experience before, it's impossible. When I say impossible, I'm talking about a 0.001% chance, which if we come down to decimals, that's 0.00001 chance out of 100. And that's not realistic. That's not, it doesn't make sense from a mathematical standpoint. That's why I say the keyword impossible. Obviously, nothing is possible. On a bare chance of numbers, there is a chance, but that chance is so minimal, we can't even give it a 1% chance. My point here is I'm saying that if you take the time to focus on, like I said, getting 1% better every single day, you have the chance to now succeed, right? Because it's going to, day after day, you're now stacking wins on top of each other. But here's the key to that. When you get 1% better every day, you cannot quit halfway during the process and say, I'm done with this. To hell with this. No. I'll give you an example of this, guys. I was building my very first business, my clothing company, the one that I just talked about, where I said it took me 6 months to get my very first sale. I was maybe 2 months into the business. Maybe 2 years into the business at this point. At this point, the 2 years that I was into the business, it had not created enough reliable income for me to just leave my job or, leave college and just live like a free student, live like a free person, free individual. No, I still had commitments. So I watched this video that Kevin O'Leary said, if the business doesn't make money in under 3 years, you might as well just take the business behind the door and shoot it to death. Now, here's the thing with that, okay? He was saying that statement under the impression that most entrepreneurs are either taking a high investment from their savings, their life savings, their family members. They're taking investments in. They're taking large amounts of money. And he is also under the impression that these individuals will keep siphoning more money into that specific business. And I disagree with that statement. If you are on a budget, if you don't spend more than X amount on this business, and it's a minimal amount, and that amount is easily retrievable in your day job or just in your daily life, then I find no problem if you exceed more than 3 years focusing on that business. There's no reason why you shouldn't. A good example of this is FUBU, for example. Damon John. He had canceled his business multiple times within many years, but eventually he got to a point where he sold the company for a huge amount. Licensing, made a ton of money. So don't quit on your business. The focus is to get 1% better. Every time you think, hey, should I quit? Should I just let go of this business? Should I, whatever? The first thing you need to ask yourself, am I giving it my all? Sweat equity. Am I working harder than the amount of money I'm putting in? For me, guys, I didn't put any, I got to take that back. I did put in money, but I put in money to buy things like physical product, to buy a camera. I didn't just put in money to hire people to do work for me. I figured it out myself, which is what everybody should be here doing, learning how to do things. That's why I tell people, get on the course, get on the ebook, get on the whatever. And guys, if you guys are watching my video for the very first time, in the beginning of the video, I kind of condemned courses. Now I'm saying get on a course. I want to make myself very clear. I'm not against courses. I'm not against education. What I am against is false realities. If a course is telling you that you're going to make thousands of dollars a weekend and all this, then that course is baloney. Let's put it that way in a respectful YouTube guidelines. I don't want to exceed the terms of service here. Basically, it's baloney, okay? But if the course is teaching you how to accomplish a specific task, then that is different, okay? Like, for example, if the course is teaching you how to set up a product listing on your Shopify website, that's accomplishing a specific task, regardless of the price. If the price is $2 million, or if the price is 1,000 or 100, I really don't care. The price is irrelevant to me. The course has to be focused based, not money based. This is the problem with all these money based courses. make 5,000 in your first month doing this, or make 10,000. That's all BS, because you cannot guarantee anybody a certain number of success. You cannot. Okay? You cannot. So please, guys, be aware of the courses that you are consuming. All right? If I ever create a course, there will never be a day where I say, here's how to make 30,000 a month. No, nobody can. I could show you everything in the world. I could give you all the steps. I could put Mark Cuban in the course. I could put anybody in the course, but that doesn't mean that you're going to make as much money as I'm making or as somebody else is making. There's no guarantees, okay? So I just have to leave that where it is. And finally, for the very last tip, if you've watched my content on my YouTube channel, you know where I'm going with this tip. Go with a premium Shopify theme. Let's be honest, people. We buy with our eyes. We have instincts. Do we want to invest our personal hard-earned money as consumers into companies that are going to be delivering products that look like trash? The answer is no. We don't want to buy from a website that looks like a scam, that looks fake, that looks like it was built in the year 1994. We want to see websites that are built, a clean website. I mean, we all know what that looks like. We go to Nike.com. You look at Nike.com, you say, damn, that website's clean. I mean, everybody can tell what a clean website is. And people think it's objective, right? Or, excuse me, subjective, where, it might be clean to you or it might be clean to this person. No. A website that is successful or looks good is objective in nature. Anybody can look at that website and say, yep, that's a good looking website, unless they're just pure haters and they're, that's a completely different story. My point is you have to make sure that your website looks like a premium, professional, multi-million-dollar company website, okay? Even if you're making $2 a day. I don't care how much you're making. It is your job to make that website look good. That means no pixelated images. That means no free Shopify themes where the only features it has is an add to cart button. You need to step up, people. You need to focus. I don't care what the Shopify theme is. And by the way, guys, when we're talking about massive success here, we are not talking about beginners, okay? The reason why I paused there is because I thought to myself, if you're a beginner, shouldn't you start with the free themes? The answer is yes, but here's the thing. If you had followed my earlier steps 3 and 4, where I said create 5 to 10 Shopify stores, I said post Shopify stores on the Shopify exchange, now you are not a beginner anymore. You have the necessary knowledge to move forward with something a little more premium, which is why you should invest in a premium Shopify theme. I've talked about premium Shopify themes on the YouTube channel, and I will continue to talk about them. The YouTube channel name is called Theme Rhino, okay? But find a Shopify theme that you like for whatever, I don't care what the reason is. Just find any random Shopify theme that you like that's premium and start there. The reality is, 9 times out of 10, that theme is not going to be the only theme that you ever buy. You're going to try many different themes, as I have tried. And I'm saying that based on my personal experience. Now, do you need premium Shopify themes to make sales on Shopify? The answer is no. You do not need it. Is it a helper? The answer is absolutely. It's like saying, guys, if you own McDonald's, right? You own a franchise, McDonald's. Does your store need to be perfectly clean to get a sale for a customer to walk in and buy a burger? No. There are some people that are willing to make, they don't care about the dust on the floor or the ketchup packets on the floor or the ketchup stains on the wall. There's some that don't care. They just want to go buy their french fries and they want to get out. But if your store is cleaner, it's more presentable to the eye. It gives consumers a more calm feeling when they enter the place, and it doesn't look like and smell like a zoo. They're more likely to buy and enjoy themselves even more. Same thing with your Shopify stores. Is it impossible to say that you're not going to make any money with a free Shopify theme? No, you'll make money. You're just not going to make as much money as the guy who looks much more professional, much more clean of a website. So, my tip on that, my last tip, like I said, is get yourself on a premium Shopify theme. And guys, by the way, this is the tip that succeeds all the other tips. Meaning, you have to do all the other tips first to get to this one. You don't get to just cut the line, okay? Because I've talked about this before. A premium Shopify theme in the hands of an individual who's a beginner who has no real experience is worth nothing. I've spoke about this before, right? If you have a sword in your hand and you have no idea how to use the sword, it doesn't matter how sharp it is, you're not going to be successful in what you want to do using that sword or using that axe. If you don't know how to cut down a tree and you have the sharpest axe in the world, you're not going to cut it down because you just simply have no idea what you're doing, right? There's a certain way you got to cut it. There's a certain angle you got to take that axe and hit the tree at. There's certain methods behind this. So my point is you got to do the other tips first, then you get to the premium Shopify theme. Don't just say, this premium Shopify theme is going to make me all the money in the world, and you jump on it. No. Okay? Let's not give each other false sense of reality here, false hopes, as these people on YouTube have. If there's one stand I want to make throughout my whole entire YouTube channel, is let's not give people a false sense of reality. There's too much of that BS going on in the world today in things like politics, okay, where everybody, listen, without getting into too much detail, people are not willing to accept the bitter and honest truth. And the world would be a much better place if people just accepted the truth. Now, we all have our flaws, obviously, but the thing that I want to say is, guys, the reason why you're watching this video is because you want to truly be successful on Shopify. You don't want it to be a myth anymore. You don't want it to be something you watch YouTube of videos about and pontificate on and dream about and talk about with your friends. You want it to be a reality. You want to drive that nice car. You want to have that nice apartment or that nice house or whatever kind of, things you want to buy. You want to have that nice bag or that nice parachute, whatever the case may be, coming from that Shopify money. Well, if you want to do that, you have to take it seriously. And these tips that I just outlined here today, in my opinion, are going to be very beneficial if you truly follow them. Most important tip of all, out of all of these, I would say the one about the 1% rule. Get 1% better every single day, and that will set the pace for everything else. When I talk about premium Shopify themes or SEO or blogging or getting a photographer, all these different things, that all comes back to what? Getting 1% better every day. Because it's going to be natural in the progression of things. You're going to say, okay, well, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? What do I need to do this? And you're going to get 1% better every day. But that is a commitment that you have to make. There's no amount of money that can motivate you to do it. Okay? You have to be willing to push when you don't want to push. Just a quick little story. I know this video went on a little bit for too long, 27 minutes. And by the way, we got to cut that narrative out that YouTube videos have to be short. Okay? We're making longer YouTube videos for the people here who want to benefit. Okay? But anyways, back to what I was going to say, is when I first started business, and I go back to the time, guys, when I keep saying when I first started, because that was the most memorable time of my life when it came down to business. Because I was struggling. I had zero support, zero. I remember a certain individual in my family kept saying to me, why don't you go get a real job? Even though I had a real job, which I was working at a restaurant and at JCPenney's at the same time. I eventually quit, right? And when I did quit and I was working on my business account, why don't you get a real job? I was being belittled for the hard work that I was putting in that had not yet paid off. When the whole world, guys, is telling you no, you have to say yes towards your business. When the whole world is pushing back, you have to push forward. And that doesn't mean, because some people are going to say, well, now I got to push forward and spend their life savings. No, it comes down to getting 1% better every day. Sweat equity. Figure out what can you do without spending boatloads of cash. What can you do to get better at business? What can you do? Can you read a blog? Can you read a book? Can you watch a video? What can you personally do? And I know, guys, that beginning mountain that you climb to getting the first success in your business is the hardest one. Because that's the one where there's so much uncertainties. You don't know if it's going to pan out. You don't know if all this hard work that you're doing is going to come out with some sort of success. But I promise you this, if you keep sticking to it and getting 1% better every day, it's only a matter of time until you become successful. Whether it be 9 years, whether it be 3 years, whether it be 1 year. Eventually you'll get there. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This video was not meant to pat you on the back. This video was not meant to also slap you in the face. This video was meant to give you the honest truth about Shopify in a tip format, obviously. I got nothing else to say. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.